By Girabsar Lankar Idabaguz. Educational Discrimination, How the State Sows Division in a Society That Depends on Equality. Many nations present themselves as inclusive and just societies. Equality is praised in policy documents, educational reforms, and political rhetoric. Yet behind this carefully maintained facade lies a structural form of discrimination that is rarely named aloud, discrimination based on educational level. Not at the margins of society, but embedded in legislation, terminology, and state policy itself. One of the clearest manifestations of this discrimination is found in how vocational learners are defined. In official state language, they are often not recognized as students but reframed under alternative labels, participants, trainees, or functionaries of the labor market. This semantic shift is not accidental. It is a political choice. Those who are not called students are excluded from student representation, denied access to certain institutions, and structurally deprived of rights and benefits that are automatically granted to those in academic education. The message is unmistakable: your form of learning counts for less. Historically, such rigid hierarchies were not inevitable. For centuries, societies functioned through a coexistence of universities, craftsmen, apprentices, masters, and guilds. Knowledge took many forms and depended on mutual respect. The modern division between vocational, applied, and academic education did not merely organize learning, it introduced ranking. And ranking, once institutionalized, produces inequality. By maintaining this hierarchy, the state reinforces a social narrative in which theoretical knowledge is valued above practical knowledge. This narrative seeps into education systems, media discourse, parenting, and labor markets. The result is not only exclusion, but division. People are no longer seen as citizens with different talents, but as categories assigned different status. The assumption that higher academic credentials equal greater intelligence is not only false, but also dangerous. Intelligence has many forms. Technical insight, spatial reasoning, manual precision, problem solving under physical pressure, these are not inferior ways of thinking, but different ones. Many academically trained individuals simply not possess the mental, physical, or practical capacities required to be electricians, mechanics, welders, builders, or infrastructure workers. Just as many practically gifted people cannot flourish in abstract, theory-heavy academic environments. There is no difference in human worth. There is no difference in social importance. There is only a difference in aptitude. Yet states persist in translating these differences into unequal rights, unequal recognition, and unequal status. This hierarchy is instilled early. Parents use educational level as a threat: if you don't study hard, you'll end up collecting garbage. As if essential labor were a sign of failure. But who collects the waste if everyone becomes a professor? Who builds the roads, constructs the houses, maintains bridges, railways, sewage systems, and power grids? Who ensures that hospitals function, factories operate, and food production continues? Imagine a society composed solely of policymakers, academics, and managers. Nothing would be built. Nothing would be repaired. Roads would crumble. Houses would decay. Machines would grind to a halt. Waste would pile up beyond control. Without skilled workers, modern society would collapse into chaos, not cities, but improvised shelters surrounded by neglect and decay. Yet it is precisely these people, the ones who keep society functioning through skill, experience, and craftsmanship, who are systematically devalued. Not only socially, but institutionally. Through legislation, language, and policy, the state draws distinctions where none should exist. A society does not function on titles, but on cooperation. Theory without practice is hollow. Practice without recognition becomes exploitation. When vocational learners are denied full student status, when they are granted fewer rights and less recognition, the state undermines its own foundation. True equality requires more than rhetoric. It requires recognition of all forms of knowledge, thinking, doing, and feeling. Head, heart, and hands. As long as states cling to hierarchical education systems that rank people instead of connecting them, they remain responsible for division, frustration, and social alienation. Not everyone needs to become a professor. Not everyone needs to work with their hands. But everyone is needed. And as long as this truth is not reflected in policy, language, and rights, there is no equality, only structural discrimination. A society that diminishes its craftsmen saws away at the legs of its own future.